right. Well, great. Great to be with you, Frank. We've been planning this for a while for our podcast together. And by way of a formal introduction, Frank Graham from Watson Realty Services. There in Ridgecrest, California, in Kern County. Welcome to the podcast today.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
Of course. We've been talking quite a bit about helping people, and we're going to dive into to see what really makes you stand out in your market. And we'll learn a little bit about your market as well, because ultimately for me, I want to be able to send you referrals. And I like to use these podcasts to send to possible referrals and say, check out Frank. This is why you should use him. Hear from his own mouth. So we'll dive into it. The overall theme of the podcast is the mindset of a champion. What sets you apart? And so, just to dive in a little bit deeper, can you tell us a little bit about your entry into the real estate field?
Yeah. So, years ago, back when I was in high school, my family inherited some rental properties that my grandfather had when he passed away. My family ended up inheriting those properties, and they were in a little bit of rough shape. So I got some exposure to going in and renovating and things like that with those types of properties with my parents actually at that time. Um, and I remember walking in the door and just thinking, man, this is bad. I would never want to live here. And then after a couple months worth of work, it was like, man, this place looks really good. I wouldn't mind living here. Fast forward to about 2009, we ended up purchasing a foreclosure out in town that I remember walking in the door to it. Now, man, this place is disgusting. I don't know what kind of health and safety violations this place is going to produce, but it's bad.
It'll be a long list.
Yeah. And my family came back and said, "Hey, hold on a minute. Just we want you to just take a breath. Wait till demo day, and then take an assessment of it." And so we went through and we demoed it out, and we ended up spending a couple months on it and got it all turned up real nice. And I ended up renting that place from my family for probably about 4 or 5 years. And so after that, it just kind of rolled over one to the next. We just get the funding, buy some properties, fix them up, and then hold them for rentals over the years. And we worked with a lot of different realtors, a lot of different property managers. And my son was playing travel baseball out at Tehachapi, and I was talking to my now teammate about some of the stuff that we were doing, and she goes, "Why don't you just go get your real estate license?" And I was like, "Man, I don't know if I want to do
I
that.
won't go through all that.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that." And she goes, "Why? You've already been doing it for 20 years. You've already been doing it with your family. Why not help out your friends and family and those types of things?" So I talked to my family about it, and I was like, "You know what? I think I want to do this." And they're like, "Dude, we've been waiting for somebody to make a move. If not you, then who?" And I was like, "Okay, so I'm going to walk down the path." And I went and got the license. And I didn't think that I was going to be able to jump out of the gate like that and just create business. And, I was very blessed that once I had the license, I had a lot of friends and did some marketing, and I'm involved, in a lot of different things around town and in my network. And people just started pinging on me, "Hey, I'm looking at this," or I want to do that. And so we just started talking business, and the transactions just started rolling in. It's been a great blessing for me. And I cherish those people, not just friends and family, but clients I don't even know. Um, so I ended up joining up with the team of the real estate agent that I was talking to during travel baseball out at Tehachapi, and we ended up joining up with Watson after that. And they had a lot of different amenities to them. I like the leadership over there, and so I can follow them. And that's, to this day, I mean, I've only been doing it commercially for probably about 3 years, but we've been doing privately for much longer than that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing, how you led into it. That sounded like one of those things where you're already doing the work. Why not help more people and actually see some added value through some some compensation from it too. So that's great. You talked about leadership and how it was important for you when you met the Watson Realty group here. Um, and I know you and I had talked about this question a little bit before, but how do you know when it comes to business and, real estate life in general, how do you know when to lead and when to follow?
Good question. Um, so I've also worked for the U.S. Navy for a little over a decade now as a
Wow.
project manager. And with any military branch, the hierarchical structure is very rigid.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I have experienced some leadership by title over me that I just, I really couldn't get behind. I couldn't produce any value in following them, and got real stagnant in my career for a couple different years, and it was just soul crushing to me. Um, in that capacity, I got to work with a lot of different strong leadership that I take a look at and be like, dude, I would follow this guy off into war, you know? And I take that in every aspect of life. If I can follow you into war, we can stand side by side. And I know that you got my back and I got your back. I don't mind following you. You know, the other part of that mindset is if in order for me to follow you, I need to be able to question everything I see you doing wrong and mimic everything I see you doing right,
Yeah.
with no judgment. And so I think people that have that understanding of that concept, it's very easy for me to fall in line with them. And if I can't, then okay, get out of my way. I'll lead you. And if that doesn't work, then we'll figure something else out.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And, when it comes down to when we interview people that may want to jump into the mortgage business, or perhaps they've been in it for years and they're just looking for a different opportunity. One of the things that they ask almost always is how are you structured? How's your leadership? How's the support? How's the culture? Those kinds of things are so important to people. And I think you said it best is, you know, lead, follow, or get out of the way. Especially in our business, because, you know, buyers, they're looking for leaders. They're looking for someone to lead them through the process. Especially, today, things are, uh, it's kind of a scary process to a lot of people that don't understand it or don't have good leadership like yourself to take them into the process and show them that, hey, this is very doable. This is something that you're going to be in a lot better position later paying your own mortgage versus somebody else's. So I that resonates with me as far as how you mentioned that about leadership. Tell me a little bit about your market there in Kern County. What can you say about your market and how's it going so far?
Yeah. So my team can represent all of Kern County. We have five different agents part of our team, and our brokerage is. I feel like every week there's five or ten more. But my team specifically, my niche is the Ridgecrests and Inyo Kern, Wilford Heights area, because I am tied in with the U.S. Navy base out here. They needed somebody to represent. It was a very cornered market as far as military personnel coming in and out, and Department of Defense civilians coming in and out. So the relocation department fluctuates really well here. Usually they're coming in, they're staying for about 3 to 5 years, depending if they're towards retirement. They like the area, they tend to stay a little bit longer. Um, and because it's such a small town compared to say like Bakersfield, LA, Orange County, if I don't know you, I know somebody who does. So it makes it really easy to make connections and build networks. But I have represented Bakersfield. I do have a pretty large network in Bakersfield as far as services that can be applied. And most of my leadership's out of Bakersfield too. So I have no problem going over there and sitting down with the leadership and sitting down with clients and, you know, loan officers, handyman services, roofers, things like that. So I'm able to pull from all those different networks to get things done. And the bigger the network is bigger the net worth of whatever transaction you can do. So for me, it's a niche of a small town, but I've been able to branch out through my team and through my brokerage to other areas and get a bigger network than I had before. And I think that's really it really pertains to how the market fluctuates. That people are always going to need places to live. You know,
Absolutely.
and being able to help those people and serve those people to getting what they want and how they need it is influential and impactful for many different reasons. But the main thing for me is just helping them get what they need, how they need it, where they need it, what they want from it. And so we'll go through, right now with the current administration in play, there's a big hiring freeze on that type of stuff
Hmm.
um, throughout the nation, and I think that worries a lot of people. But I don't think it's going to last forever. So you just adapt. You have to adapt to the market, and real estate is one of those criteria is that you can adapt in any which way, no matter what. If you have a recession or you have a massive progression, it adapts, and there are ways to overcome it. It's just recognizing those ways.
Yeah, no, that's well said. I totally agree with that. And the longer we're in the business, like you and I are, we see the peaks, the valleys, the highs and the lows, the tweaks that are made in the market, in the economy, and real estate. And then it's up to us. It's up to our brokerages. It's up to us as individuals to make that adaptation and make those pivots that we need to be more useful, more helpful to our communities. And um, you know, it leads me to another question. In a very competitive market, which California typically is, very competitive market, what is your platform for creating a win-win situation for all parties that are involved in the business? And I say win-win. I love that part of it because it takes us back to the mindset of a champion. So what would you have to say about that part?
It all boils down to why.
Mm,
It all starts with why. That is a Simon Sinek quote that I have carried
yep.
throughout this whole business process. What is your why? What do you need from this? What do they need from this? And how do we structure a transaction between multiple parties to get everybody what they need and how they need it? And as long as I have stuck to that concept, I have always been able to create good relationships, bigger networks, referrals, word of mouth, um, and just overall good standing with people, and leading with, I would say, confidence and truth. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm going to speak the truth, even if it gets me in trouble sometimes. And I think people can really, hold on to that when they know they're working with me. Like, look, this may be a bad deal for you, um, so I'm letting you know. Or, if we move this way, this could turn out really well for you. And giving them that risk assessment, and they know that when they come to me, they're going to get the honest truth about things, and live by integrity while I'm explaining it that way. So, but it
Yeah.
starts with the why.
No, I really agree with that. And when it comes to truth and honesty, it made me think of a phrase that I use when either I'm interviewing new loan officers or perhaps a new realtor partner to work with to kind of see, what's important to them in a working relationship. But even with buyers, especially that I meet with, I say, I will never lie to you and I will never lie for you.
Mm.
So what you get is complete transparency on all fronts. I will always tell you the truth. I'll always have your best interest at heart. But if somebody asks a very specific question, and it's usually an underwriter, you
Yeah.
know, I'm not going to lie for you, risk my license, risk my integrity, my ethics, and risk something that could possibly, at the end of the day, put you in a bad position. And so I really resonate with what you mentioned there about your desire and how you speak the truth. You're very transparent. And that example you gave me earlier when we were talking about how you literally had to walk away from a deal after advising the family, don't do this. I
Mhm.
would not do this. And that says a lot about you and your character and why people should choose Frank Graham to work with.
100%.
Here's another question. Any business is time consuming. No matter what we do, we only have 24 hours a day. And so whatever we do, it takes time, to build the systems, the processes that we need to be successful in what we're trying to accomplish. How do you manage being able to give your time, your energy to your business, to your family, and still achieve success in both?
Yeah. Uh, Sometimes that vision is hard to achieve.
Yeah.
A very good mentor of mine told me sometimes to be successful, you got to create priorities. And sometimes your family is second priority to your business, and sometimes your business is second priority to your family. But when those times come and you got to push hard for the family, because at the end of the day, it's all for your family.
Yeah.
Um,
That's the why part.
yep, that's the why part. That's why I do this. He says you push hard, and once you achieve that success, then you lay off. You slow down a little bit, and that's when you start spending more time with your family and making up that time that you lost with them for your business. Because without the business, you wouldn't probably be able to do the things that you want to do with your family. Um, and I know that when I prioritize, I feel like I wear so many hats all the time on different things.
Take one off, put it back.
Yeah, yeah. It's just you wear so many hats, you got so many jobs, you have so many different, accountability and responsibilities for things with the family that you have to learn how to prioritize the need first, and then what that looks like is the accolade or achievement later, and being able to correlate that all together and explain to your family, hey, look, I'm gonna have to push hard. I'm not gonna be around for a little bit, or I'm not going to be able to show up to this baseball game, or I'm not going to be able to
Yeah.
show up to that recital, or I'm not going to be able to, go get groceries tonight, or cook dinner with you guys, or sit down for game night, or whatever that looks like for you. Um, however, once this is done, I'll make something happen for all of us. I can promise you that, and my kids and my family know that when I say I'm going to do something, I am going to do it. That is part of being integral, and that is part of being truthful with things. And they don't always like it. I don't always like it either,
Right.
right? But it's a necessity, and I have to be able to produce something for them, and that's kind of how I look at things when it comes to splitting time with them all. Sometimes you just got to push hard and make the business the priority, and other times you got to lay off and make the family the bigger priority. Not that I don't think of them while I'm doing it and making the business a priority. Sometimes it hurts really bad, but on the backside of that, they get to see the work ethic that comes through. I got a couple young
Mhm.
boys. They're 16 and soon to be 12, and they know that I feel like I modeled what hard work looks like for them, while still being a father and being involved and being present. That's a big
Mhm.
deal. That's a big deal. So, and I want to model that for them because someday they're going to have their own families,
That's
and I
right.
want them to be able to understand what that split looks like between going and being successful and the hard work that it takes to be successful, and then a hard work to be a father, a son, a husband, a nephew, whatever that looks like for them.
Absolutely. Well, it's interesting because um, we hear that term work-life balance a lot. And sometimes it can just be a cliche. Oh, yeah, I got to try to. But to hear somebody like yourself, who is a husband, a father, um, a pillar in the community, one that is known for transparency, all the things we've already talked about, that comes at great sacrifice to sometimes our ourselves. I know as a man too, when it comes to my wife, I'm always looking to prioritize her and the family. But, sometimes there's other people want our time and attention as well. And I'm very grateful, no doubt you are too, for your wife, your family that is right behind you in support of you because they understand how your business works. And I'm grateful my wife, she understands. I sometimes I got to take a call at 11 o'clock at night, 11:30, 2 o'clock on a Saturday, 3 o'clock on a Sunday, whatever it is, because work isn't stopping. And sometimes we got to keep things moving that way. But I love how you mentioned what you do to make things up to your family and to let them know you are my priority. You got to take care of these couple things right now. Involves a little sacrifice. I love you. I appreciate you. And we're going to do something special over here. And that's what a champion does. A
Right.
champion win-wins with their family, their business, and with the community. So thank you for sharing that. Another kind of spinoff almost of all of that is, you know, we hear in the news, we hear in podcasts, all this stuff, everything's about mindset, having the right mindset. And when it comes down to having the mindset of a champion like you do and the things you've just described, how would you say having the mindset of a champion affects your day-to-day activities? What do you do, maybe just a little bit different, or what do you do each day to have that mindset of a champion when it comes to maybe your workflow, follow-up, and things like that?
When I wake up first thing in the morning, I look at whatever opportunity is going to be provided for that day. And that perspective is consistent with me. Even in the problems, even in the issues and the fires of the day, what opportunity is this going to provide? And I think that it allows me to have a more optimistic mindset walking throughout the day. A lot of people, they're 9 to 5, they go, man, Monday morning just sucks. I don't
Yeah.
want to get up. I don't want to go to work. And I'm like, man, what
Yeah.
opportunities can I achieve today? What successes from those opportunities can I achieve today? Um, but I've seen it happen multiple times. And people get natural disasters, and they're terrible, terrible things. People lose their homes, they lose family members, they lose all kind of memories that they had.
Mhm.
Whether it be photos or albums or things like that. And it's like, yeah, I see those things, but what does that produce afterwards? You know, how does it allow you to structure and organize your life how you want to? Because now you have a clean slate.
Right.
At the end of the day, you got a clean slate. Back in 2019, we had some severe earthquakes up here. There's a 6.4 and then a 7.1 within a couple of days of each other.
Whew.
And a lot of people had some structural damage. The Navy base here was pretty much shut down from all the damage that those earthquakes had done. And you know, my department at that time that I was working for was one of the first mission critical departments to be called back to work. And when we walked in, it was just there was files everywhere and tools and benches and damage and
Mm.
we'll call them widgets
Yeah.
that had fallen apart or broken or whatever. And we walk in there and like, man, this is just a mess. And I could just see my leadership just go, oh man, this is going to put us back so far. It's like, yeah, I see that. But now we get to do and build it how we wanted to. It's not what we inherited and then tried to change, right? Now we get to design it and build it how we want to so that
Right.
we can be more efficient and proficient at what we want to do and how we want to be with it. Not to say that it wasn't heavy occurrence that happened, right? But at the same time, it's like, okay, yeah, this is going to take a little bit of time now, but it's going to allow us to take the time now to speed up later. And within, I'd say, probably about 6 to 8 months, we had things much more organized. We got some accreditations for the organization that we were able to do with that department, and it moved forward. So, taking a look at those types of things, when I wake up in the morning, I don't think, oh man, it's Monday. I don't want to go back to work. It's, hey man, what opportunities can I use to achieve today? What opportunities can I use to impact and influence somebody else's day in a positive way? Whether it be a perspective, whether it be, helping somebody or serving something. What do those opportunities look like for that day? And being able to recognize them is a big deal
Hmm.
too. You know, and if you have a negative mindset or a pessimistic mindset walking throughout the day, bad attitude or whatever, you're going to miss those things. And they're everywhere. They're everywhere. Any
Yeah.
interaction you have for the day has an opportunity.
Yeah, I resonate with that as well. My wife will tell you I'm a morning person. I wake up and "Ooh, let's go." What's waiting for us? Let's go. And one of the things that we do at iFinance Mortgage is our team is trained to gently measure one another. So we ask each other, what does your perfect day look like? Right? Knowing that it's a perfectly imperfect day because no one's perfect. But um, in order that we can have some measurement, have some goal setting, and something that's attainable, usually we assign a numeric to it if we can. So, for instance, in my day, my goal, my perfect day, is I want to have a minimum of 5 business conversations. Now that's unique and new. That's not like an existing realtor I'm working with on a deal. That's not like people I already know necessarily, but it could be at the grocery store. It could be in the gas line, wherever it's at, a unique business conversation. It's like, wow, hey, the price of gas looks like it came down just a little bit. Man, I hope everything else is on its way down. Get them talking a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. And yeah, there's a lot of talk about the rates coming down too. I know that's got people hopeful and excited. What do you
Yeah.
think? Whatever. A business conversation. So I have 5 of those minimum a day. It usually turns out to be about 10. And then I have a certain allotment too for new realtor partners that I'm going to seek out. My existing realtor partners, what do I do to maybe send them a little video? Hey, how's your day going? Just wanted to share with you this new program that's happening. Da 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 da. So when I measure it that way, it really does help me. By the end of my day, I can share it with my wife because sometimes she'll ask me, she'll quiz me. How'd your perfect
No.
day go? Did you do what you said you were going to do? Because I wrote it down, right? But yeah, I appreciate being able to have those kind of checkpoints throughout the day, and then by the end of the week, how many conversations did I log? And I'll have it on a little sticky note that says, "Okay, I got 50 or 52 or whatever." And what's going on for next week? Well, I've got this, and this to follow up on, and I've got 3 new podcasts scheduled. I've got next thing you know, it's helping me stick with that mindset of a champion, someone that is going to do what's best for my wife, who's my why, like you said, and for the community. So yeah, I appreciate what you shared too, and it's truly a blessing to come to a podcast with a like-minded person like yourself. And you got a lot of things juggling. I can see it,
Yeah.
and a
Yeah.
lot of
But I love
hats.
that concept. I love that concept. I mean, I'm wondering if I already do that. I'm just not writing it down, but I'll have to pay
Oh, I'm
attention
sure
to
you
that.
are. I'm
I'll have
sure.
to pay attention to that.
Well, maybe that's something we can help each other with. I'll
100%.
shoot you a text and say, "Hey, Frank, I've got 3 of my 5 business conversations today. I'm looking for 2 more unique ones. I'll let you know how that goes, and you can fire back at me and say, "Hey, make it happen, John. Come on, I believe in you."
Oh man, I could do that. I could definitely do that.
No, I think that's really helpful. Well, um, just one more question that I have for you, and it kind of goes in line with whether we've been in the business for a number of years, or perhaps we're a new realtor or new loan officer. We're all faced with challenging times today, challenging economic times. There's no doubt about it. What advice would you have for people to be successful in today's very challenging times?
Nobody knows what winning's like without knowing what losing's like first.
Amen.
Um, Hang in there. Failure produces opportunity to learn. And if you're only winning and learning, there is no defeat. So just hang in there. Get you a good mentor, somebody that you can follow, somebody that you buy into their vision and you buy into their responsibility of you. Um, and it's okay to fail. It is okay to
Mm.
fail. You know, um, you can't have courage without fear. Don't be scared. And if you are, it's okay. Move forward anyways. Move forward anyways. It just takes one step at a time. The hardest part of any transaction is just making a decision to do it. So it takes time. It takes effort. It takes hard work ethic, and it takes a lot of resilience, perseverance. And when you get to the point where you get comfortable being uncomfortable, things start to open doors to possibilities you could never even imagine, let alone fathom. So fail and fail well.
Oh, I like that. I like that. That's really well said. And Frank, you really have demonstrated uh, what it takes to be a champion every day, not only as a father, a family man, but a pillar in your community, as we mentioned. In addition to helping out the U.S. military in the capacity you do, and it's just you wear a lot of hats and you wear them well, and it's an honor to serve alongside of you in this field in this journey of helping more families find their American dream and educating them. You know, don't be afraid to jump into something that's outside of your comfort zone, like the home buying market. We got you. Frank will take great care of you through the whole process, and we do the same on the financing side. I'll spend however much time, husband and wife or family, an individual, whatever it is, whatever they need to do to feel comfortable about the process, so much so that they can relate it back to me when we're done, because I break it down very simple, very 101. And if they can do that, then I know they're at least mentally ready for the next step. So thank you for sharing all of your insights, your experience, your just intense desire to help people. It really comes to the forefront. And I look forward to sending you referrals. And I know you and I, we work together on, helping the community. We purchase leads in the same area as well. And every time I make a phone call, the first thing I ask is, are you currently working with a trusted realtor? And if they say no, ah, well, I got one for you. I got a trusted realtor who's a champion that will truly help you. So, Frank, thank you so much for joining today again from Watson Realty Services, and for sharing your unique way of servicing people and how you take care of your local community. I'm grateful that you joined today.
Yeah, thank you, John. Thank you for your time and thank you for the nuggets. Thank you for the nuggets of information. I'll cherish this, and I will definitely be taking some of those and putting them to some action and see how I could be a better person, let alone another realtor, with everybody around me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I took some good notes too that you gave me that I plan to put into practice. And you know what? We're going to hold each other accountable for some good things that'll just benefit our families those that we meet. So thanks again, and you have a wonderful rest of your day and week.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thanks for sharpening my iron against some iron.
That's Proverbs 17:17, I believe.
That is. Yes, it is.
All right, my friend. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.